BBM's almost filled up. I've got no entries left. What does a guy who knows ball have to do to get some action on a fine Tuesday? We know what we got to do. We got to hop into the world of drafters. The drafters million is going on. And you know what? After the controversy around FFPC, the one thing that we can say for drafters is that Taysom Hill is still a tight end on drafters. We got that going for us. Of course, the format on drafters, no playoff week, 17 weeks of total points accumulation, best ball style. That's how you're going to win this one. Of course, full point PPR as well. So similar to DraftKings in that format, no bonuses, but it is not half point PPR like Underdog. And you can see that I am already in a draft room with some of our friends and family. Was pandering for people to join this drafters room with me here because I entered one that was entirely not filled. So we will see what we can do here on this glorious Tuesday with 2 days left until the NFL season starts. And I've been also figuring out what the channel schedule is going to be here moving forward, at least so I figure out what me and Pete are going to do when he gets back from Vegas. So basically what we're going to do is tomorrow will be my DraftKings finale entries. I'm just going to keep dangling this football around. It's also pumped up, by the way, guys. So this, you can see the power in my hands, like holding a fully pumped up football. And there's only 6 out of 12 ready to draft, so I'm not going to click that button. Anyway, tomorrow we'll be maxing out DraftKings live on stream at around the same time, maybe 11. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then Thursday will be the first showdown video. But it's going to be more of a live stream this year. Going to try to keep it on the shorter side so it hits those short form notes that I know people really enjoyed. But basically what I'm going to do is because this year, I have to tell you guys, I'm going to be using sim products. I think that is the thing to do for yourself if you're going to take this seriously. So what I'm going to try to do is hand build a lineup, show you guys the Fantasy Cruncher lineups, show you guys what the sims are doing, and then you can make your decisions from there. So that's going to be what that process looks like this year, and probably same thing for Friday as well, because I'm actually excited to play with these stochastic sims that I got. Also going to be checking out, I believe, Run the Sims for my my pal Justin Freeman. So let's have some fun things to look at sim-wise, but it's a new world out there, and I think I'd be doing myself a disservice if I just did the same kind of process and didn't acknowledge this kind of changing force in the world of DFS. So that's the strategy we got going for you guys. Doing 2 drafts today here on Drafters. It'll be the last 2 that I do on stream for Drafters. Probably going to hit another 3 or so in my own private time. But we are coming up with the next pick so we can see what I could do. Would like to build a nice one here. I read a beautiful Kenny Pickett fluff piece on The Athletic before the stream. So I'm feeling motivated to draft some Kenny Pickett if we could make that work. Got A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, I think in full point PPR format, Amon-Ra St. Brown just a little bit undervalued to me. Happy to take him at the 9 hole in this spot once we see Diggs, Hill, Chase, and Jefferson off the board as you'd expect. GM, let's go. Rip Star. I don't know what that means. Cedar was asking me about the ADP chasing guys, apparently speaking ill of Christian Watson on the stream yesterday. And I think that that is one of those takes that I don't know how serious it was. People were saying, oh, no, they didn't fully put that out there. They don't like Christian Watson or George Pickens. But I will tell you guys, I don't see Chase Claypool vibes from those guys. I think what you're going to see is athletic beasts who can add more to their profile. And I was actually looking at the back half of the week numbers on Sports Info Solutions, looking at the EPA per target numbers, all that stuff that you guys know that I love. And it was honestly crazy because Pickens and Watson were actually like top 5 in the league in EPA per target with I think about 40 targets in the back half of the season. So definitely something where I'm expecting those guys to really build in that momentum this year. The numbers for the entire season already looked great, but I think very exciting times if you are a Watson Pickens believer like I am. All right, so we got a Amon-Ra here. I think let's just keep building out PPR monsters. I'm going to push Cooper Kupp because, should I push Cooper Kupp? Yeah, let's push Cooper Kupp. Let's see where he goes. This is more of a thought experiment than anything. You guys know I'm generally happy to absorb the risk of these injured players, these guys who have questionably long injuries. Cooper Kupp seeing a specialist in Minnesota was a headline that came out yesterday to figure out why this hamstring issue keeps reoccurring for him. It's not a great sign, but I guess at least he's trying to solve it instead of just, continuing to do the same thing over and over again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and repeating your mistakes over and over again. I completely botched that quote, but you know what I'm going for. So I think that's not necessarily a bad sign. But I am curious if maybe Cooper Kupp can fall to 33. I don't think he will in this room. I think somebody's going to scoop him before we get back. But let's give it a shot. Why not? Let's push him. I got enough Kupp down the stretch on DraftKings. Got enough on Underdog as well. I'm happy to take him here. I pair him with Deontay Johnson, but if I had to, Pickett's would be good too. Good morning, Senior Spags. Shout out Tim. Tim, one of our regular post-stream commenters here live. Glad to see you guys here all hanging out. I think really, and I talked about this the other day, that one of my bigger mistakes that I think I did content-wise, so I didn't end up doing with my draft portfolio, was making it a Pickens versus Deontay Johnson thing, when in reality, it should be a bet that you think both these guys can move forward because of the fact that Deontay Johnson obviously ran so bad last year, probably more due for positive regression than anybody else in the league in terms of the touchdown department. But then also, like, Pickens, theoretically, if he's good, like I think he is, he's going to open things up downfield. He's going to create opportunities underneath for Johnson and Pat Freiermuth, maybe Darnell Washington if they run a lot of 12 personnel out there. So I think there's definitely ways that this whole offense can work. And it really does come down to Kenny Pickett. And again, read this Athletic Fluff piece they put up this morning. I'm not going to link it in the chat. You guys can find it. I think it's on the NFL homepage. Basically, it's talking about how much the players love him, how much of a leader he is. It's like, it's absolutely the kind of piece you see that like feels as though the beat writer was writing it up to plant a flag to say that, yeah, I was in on Kenny Pickett and I was telling the tale of this myth building that we do as reporters, was doing it before we started getting good on the field. That's definitely how it came across to me. So I think really the Steelers, to me, you're going to have to play in a competitive division where there's going to be a lot of points scored. I think that's also part of the thesis. But Pickett just has to be average. So that's all it takes. Cooper Kupp goes at the 3 turn, so that makes sense. 2-3 turn to a team with Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, which feels like a real classy start. If you combine all the seasons, the last few seasons together, Jefferson, Henry, Kupp start does feel pretty good, I'm sure, for Extendo B there. GMs all around here. Bright and early in the morning, 10 a.m. I didn't want to betray the usual splash play time, even though we are not doing the usual version of splash play. No more head-to-heads have. Pete and I don't have entries left to do. So we are unfortunately out of head-to-head streets. And I think he's still doing the club today. I don't know if he's doing streams or not. I know he's doing Sirius XM, but if you are looking for Pete content, I think he's doing Sirius XM today. And then I think he was just on the march to Vegas. I'm not sure. Let's see. Got a Hill Cup Ridley start on DK. That's pretty nice. That's definitely a unique one too. The injuries really do offer some unique opportunities where a lot of these fields, obviously on Underdog, 90% of the field was drafted before these injuries came down. On DraftKings, 80 to 85%. So big opportunities. I do think here would have been nice if Mark Andrews were still on the board. I would like to get an elite tight end. I think that makes sense. Not in love with the running backs of this spot. So I am actually, hold on. Is Justin Fields is still kicking around. Let's do this. Let's see if we can get a more Fields combo. I've been really typing up, I guess, the correlation between Moore and Fields, where a bet on Moore is a bet on Fields. A bet on Fields is sort of a bet on Moore, though not quite to the same extent. But I think especially for drafters, and I might have said this on a previous drafter stream, I think the Moore Fields combo is even more potent, where you don't even need the best ball spike weeks when you want to get into week 17. Like Chicago, Atlanta on paper probably should be a pretty gangbusters week 17 game. That said, Atlanta's defense has improved. The thesis of Atlanta improving this year probably comes from that defense, kind of limiting the damage that Desmond Ridder can do on the other side, as well as Arthur Smith and his play calling. So I do think that, to me, there's a world where Chicago, Atlanta is not a gangbusters week 17 game in best ball. Obviously, that's true of every game, but I think in best ball, it's more pronounced to talk about it. Whereas at a season-long format, these guys just have to be better than we're expecting over the course of an entire year. And having an elite QB definitely would be an edge here. So as long as this guy doesn't take Justin Fields unstacked, I think we're going to be okay. Hopefully we'll be okay. So let's get Justin Fields in. He does have a 45.5 ADP. So taking him ahead of ADP, but I don't care. I think he's got to get our guys at this point in drafts. We are 2 days away from the season starting. No time to waste. Be suited club weekly winners. Oh, there we go. No ship chasing drafts. So there's Pete's upcoming schedule for you guys. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? Yeah, people asking about drafters, full point PPR. So again, why I love Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams in any format, guys that in Amon-Ra's case probably ran bad last year in terms of touchdowns, which was part of why Jamal Williams ran so hot last year in terms of touchdowns. But Devontae Adams, big ed zone share, I think, as well. So guys are going to contribute full point PPR, can contribute a lot of touchdowns. That's definitely the kind of players that I'm absolutely looking for. You make it up for the Bears Spag stack. Yes, where the chat talked me into it. I'm going to blame the chat for this one because I was like, you know what? I think I should take Fields and try to punt Moore. The chat was like, no, take Moore. That'll plant a flag. And there were no badges on the way there. And Fields, of course, goes to a team that ended up not being a good home, not stacked up. Fields going to a greedy QB pig on the last Spag stacks. But check that out over the weekend. Content kept going here on the Splash Play channel at draft number 150 on BBM, live streamed on Sunday. Saturday did the final Spag stacks where we drafted Dolphins, got sniped on Tua, got sniped on everything there. Couldn't get a single Dolphin besides the back end ones. Then also drafted Bears, drafted Eagles. The Eagles one turned out well. The Bears one was really unique because I ended up tacking on a New England stack as getting sniped on every other secondary QB I wanted to get, as well as Fields. So we made it work. All we can do is make it work. ADP means nothing to these animals. ADP is a social construct. Yeah, you hear a lot of different things about drafters these days where it feels like a lot of the rooms are sharp, a lot of sharp drafters, hopefully like myself and you guys out there chase an overlay on here. So that's definitely resulting in a lot of people putting in entries who are going to be better than the average drafter. But then there's also people, I think, not paying as much attention. I know drafters also had some server issues last night that they did. If you missed it on social media, they're offering various comps and then restarting the drafts, I think, today at noon East Coast time. So, drafters trying to do what they can, I think, to overcome the high volume, I guess, they're getting at night. The point being, though, drafters, I think, has been different experiences for different folks. Like, I think that I've seen some rooms where people disregarding stacks, people just jumping all over the place to grab their QB. And I've seen a few where people are just like kind of staying out of the way, letting things come to them more in the way that you would usually in a May BBM draft or even June. So I think I've had kind of the run of it where maybe not a big enough sample size for me, but I think that I've seen kind of every room have different contexts. And I wouldn't make a read on drafters, but I expect a little more sharpness just because of the overlay stuff. Spags, are all first-round cup teams dead in the water? No, you just have to survive whatever time he's out and then hope that your receiver group in particular is special. I think if you went cup and then running back, if you want to bimodal running back thing, you're probably fucked more so. This is sort of part of why I draft the way that I do, where I want to make sure I have the best receiver room in almost every draft I'm going to be in. And let's make the pick here, and I'll kind of continue my rambling on that. We got our stack for Moore and Fields. Could use running backs. I think but also we have George Pickens there, who's looking pretty sexy. But let's get an anchor running back. I think Javonte, Pierce both look pretty good. Pierce probably doesn't have as many dupes at this ADP, I would think, whereas Javonte, he's been going so low throughout the entire summer that taking him at 55 here, I know it's a different format. I know it's drafters. Feels like taking Javonte here feels a little bit pricey for me. I'm happy to take him on the way back if these guys let him go. But I'd rather go Pierce. Didn't get enough Pierce exposure, or maybe I did, honestly, with recent reports that Pierce and Singletary might be in a pure timeshare, which there was no signs of that this entire preseason. Because I can tell you guys, if you saw my final BBM4 exposures, I tweeted out because we couldn't finish them live on the stream because it wasn't updating. I have so much fucking Singletary. I thought he was too cheap all offseason. I thought there was a good bet to be made. New coaching staff coming in who wants to bring in Singletary, and then Pierce is a previous regime's guy, so maybe they don't like him quite as much. And then all of the preseason signal was that Pierce is going to be that guy. I am delighted to hear that it might be a timeshare, but I'm skeptical. But certainly something with Pierce where he does have some flaws in his game. So Javonte falls back to us. I'm going to scoop him here. Would like to build out my receivers, but I think Amon-Ra and Adams is such a strong base. Now we have this Fields-Moore correlation that I think we can start to get some running backs in, and a nice value here on Javonte, getting him almost 10 picks after ADP. Though, again, he was going cheaper earlier on, so it's probably not that great of a value, really. Tried to do an LAC Dolphin stack last night. All my wide receivers got sniped. That's tough, man. Battle Royale season is afoot, so make sure to make it count. Of course, the Chargers playing the Dolphins. A lot of concerns about Tua in that game. I will give you a preview, by the way, of what I've been seeing in the stochastic sims. And this is going to tell you guys how much the sim stuff is going to blow your mind and maybe make you question things. I don't know, but I'm going to play it as straight as I possibly can. You know who's actually, I'll make this a guess to you guys. Chat guess here, and then I'll give you guys the answer coming up. Who do you think is the highest ROI QB that comes up on stochastic sims right now? Who do you think it is? I'm curious your guys' thoughts. And I will tell you, by me prompting this question, I think it's going to probably drive you a certain direction. It's not going to be somebody you think. And it's not going to be somebody I own the jersey of, unfortunately. What should we be doing to help out with the Probly beta in SoCal? We can't access sports books. I would check it out. So, I mean, the thing with Probly is that we are, I'll give you guys the link. I did send it out to our wait list. So the wait list got the first look at it over the week. But here's a link to the Probly. Oh, well, hold on. Remove home from that, because that way you get to see our little logo startup thing. But basically, that is our dev server right now, our test server, which we're giving people access to, limited access to. And I think just check it out. Send me any feedback you have at chris@probly.com. I did send out an email full of like the use cases of it, how to try to make the most of it, which I'll also drop in the chat. Sorry for just hitting you guys with links if you are on mobile or whatever. But I just want to make sure everybody has the right experience when they play with Probably. We're going to try to put in some more things as well to inform like how you do things on the app. But just send me feedback, check it out. And then, when we're paying for things, which will be on Thursday, hopefully we'll have our membership set up. Fucking buy a $50 a month membership if you can. Read this before using. All right, let's do the QB guessing game before I go back and make a pick. All right, so we got guesses here. We got Mac, Love, Tua, Howell, Watson, Geno. I'm skipping over one because I think Visha here, it's Mayfield. It's Baker Mayfield comes up an impossible amount. I think largely because of the fact that Chris Godwin, here we go. Mayfield's, I think Vish is playing with the stochastic sims right now. So that's the tool. Again, buy a membership. I don't have a promo code for it, but I think they might have some on the social media handles for stochastic. But it is a Mayfield Godwin duo. And then the running back who comes up in every sim right now is Jamal Williams. He comes up as being the most important part, 70% of the simulated lineups that I had. So basically, sorry to kind of be talking about two subjects at once. But I think it's really enlightening. I think if it hits in week one, I think honestly earlier in the season is probably going to be your best shot. If not week one, maybe week two, week three, as projections get a little bit sounder. I think you're going to see a lot of big sim wins for that first couple weeks, whether it be stochastics, whether it be run the sims, whether it be, I know the solver's doing one, the ETR optimizer out there. I don't know who else is doing sims that matter. Saber sim, maybe. Somebody's going to win big with the sims in week one. And I think it'll be more inclined that it's probably not like a Saber sim because they've been around forever. I think it's more likely it's like a stochastic one, and they might dominate the first couple weeks because they're just going to be getting weird shit that you're not getting on your builds for the most part. And if you do get it like on a fantasy cruncher, you're probably going, Baker, why am I getting so much Baker Mayfield? Like it's interesting, and it's going to change the way that I do content and talk about this stuff because I have to talk about my takes. I have to talk about what I'm seeing data wise and stuff that I think makes sense. But in reality, like I got to tell you, I would never tout Baker Mayfield. I would never go out of my way to do that. So it's different. It's a different thing. And we shout out to the chat as well. Of course, the chat is what keeps me going here. I'll be doing 2 drafts today, and I'll do my whoring for things in a moment. All right, so we don't have any obvious correlations. I do love bets on David Montgomery at this point, but I'm going to try to push him. Want a semi-elite tight end. I've talked about Dallas Goedert being the best tight end in EPA per target last year out of guys that got real volume. So Goddard, to me, I think fits this build. Team so far, Justin Fields, Damian Pierce, Javonte Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Dallas Goedert. There we go. Air to 5,600 is such a misprice on DK. So that's the part of the sims that is really hurting me. Oh, did I snipe Star Kidler? Oh, sorry, bud. Sorry. I'm too focused here. And again, I guess I'm the thing I complain about on drafters, but was Goddard after ADP though? He was slightly after ADP, was he not? So I think you should have taken him when you wanted him then. That's how I feel, Star Kindler. Sorry, but also not sorry. I think AR being the guy that wins somebody week one, and I don't play AR because I'm playing Baker Mayfield because of a simulation, that would drive me some degree of nuts, I have to admit. So I'm going to try to make sure I get some AR shares. I think he came up in like 1% of the 150 lineups I ran. But I might try to force my way to like 5% AR just for the symbolic nature of it. Okay, I'm glad we're good. I just love Goddard too much, man. I obviously would be great if I had him with Hurts, but I think happy to take him without. All right. Who else makes sense here? I think we've built out some nice bets overall. Michael Thomas, probably a guy that's a little bit undervalued in this format as well, though he has to be healthy for an entire season, so we can see how that goes. Taylor now getting to the point of maybe being draftable as well. But I'm going to take Sky Moore. I think this adds a nice texture to this team where clearly the base we have is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams. Those guys should carry most of the weeks here in a full point PPR format. So I think just adding another guy who's a little spike weeky, but has some PPR stuff to him, where Moore was not a high ADOT guy last year, is kind of running those rub routes we always talk about with Kansas City, where it's like, oh, he's in motion. Never mind. He's just kind of moving back outside. If Kadarius Toney goes down, Sky Moore benefits. And I think in this format as well, just getting pieces of teams that are going to be good this year and score a lot of points, always going to be logical. So that's why I take Dallas Goedert with no real correlation. That's why I'll take a Sky Moore with no correlation. They're part of 2 top teams in their conferences. So there we go. Was that QB question regarding week 1 slate? Oh, yes, just week 1 slate. Yeah, the main slate. Actually, so here's another fun one. Obviously, Showdown coming up tomorrow or coming up on Thursday, and we'll do the Sims on the stream. So hopefully they won't get mad at me for showing the Sim product, though maybe not because I think they do content around it. Do you guys want to guess who the Thursday skeleton key for Showdown for Chiefs Lions? You want to guess who that is? Because I'll give you that one too. And again, we'll be doing this again. So act surprised when I do this stuff on Thursday and Friday. But who do you think would be the surprise skeleton key for a Showdown? The clue I'll give: benefits from an injury. Chat, guess away. Who's the skeleton key for Showdown based on the Sims on Stochastic that people can get for themselves, of course? Interesting guesses so far. Yep. I mean, and I think these are all logical guesses. I need Visha to hop back in there because I think Visha will know. Here we go. We got the guess. So Reynolds, Laporta, not it. CEH, not it. We got Khalif Raymond. Yes, it is Khalif Raymond who projects for, I think, 10 DK points in the Stochastic projections right now. He pops up with a high simulated ROI as a captain, as well as at utility position. So it's definitely Mim's not on the Lions anymore. So just keep that in mind if you are playing the Showdown, because he might still be on the roster in the DK Showdown, but he's not actually on the team. But yeah, it's Khalif Raymond. So I don't know what to do with that. And again, same thing there, where it's like, to me, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, same play. But if the sim is telling you Khalif Raymond and you don't end up with Josh Reynolds, you can definitely massage the ownership. You can do like the little up buttons, upvote arrow buttons to kind of give yourself more exposure to guys. But it's going to be interesting. And again, I'm just going to play it straight. I'm just going to take the ones that it tells me are the highest simulated ROI and go with it from there. But definitely it's a different process. You have to kind of, I think if you're going to use this stuff correctly, if you're going to use the sim products for DFS correctly, you just got to take your hands off the wheel. And I think just let it go. So we'll see. Reynolds will outscore Khalif. There you go. You were thinking it was Marvin Mims. Gotcha. I was like, I feel like guys in our chat usually know when players are cut. So yeah, he's talking about Marvin Mims for the main slate, but no. Baker is the skeleton key, and Jamal Williams too. Like, it does seem like Jamal Williams, potentially good chalk. We'll see how chalky he gets. My pal Greg Ehrenberg was telling me a tale in MLB where they had one player who's projected for 10% ownership, but because all the sim products out there, including Stochastics, were pushing them towards, I forget what his name was. It was one of the Korean players. And basically this player ended up being projected for 10% ownership, who was owned by 50% of the field in MLB because everybody's running their own sim products. So we'll see when that affects things in NFL. It probably won't be week 1, would be my guess. I think if you're going to play sim products straight up without any tweaking, I think the time to do that is going to be the first month of the season. And then the field's going to catch up and go like, holy fuck, I'm getting killed by everybody with an avatar of a site with sim products. And then we'll see how it goes. Oh boy. AR just sitting there looking at my face, looking for kisses. But then we have Jalen Warren, who looks pretty good. Charbonnet, I also like. Oh no, what to do? 13 seconds. I mean, I think a Fields AR start would look pretty good. I think it's hard to argue that it would be a pretty fun one here. Let's do it, Anthony Richardson. We can still keep playing the hits. I don't care if I maxed out BBM. The jersey's still relevant. Let's go. Okay. Okay. I like that you guys are on a slight delay. I had to think about it. I had to make sure. Am I doing foreplay with myself? Look, you got to give the people what they want. You got to build up. Also, the Splash Play hat available in the Pete's store. You can find a link in the description if you want to get the Splash Play dad hat. I'll even zoom in on myself so you can see it because I do love this hat. Don't wear it often enough because I'm wearing the sites hats all the time now. I don't know why I do things like that, but I do love this logo. Squirt Squad should have a helmet like this. Jalen Warren comes back to us too. This is fucking looking delightful. Definitely a little bit lighter on receiver, but I do think that St. Brown Adams start makes me feel like we can be a little bit lighter at this point. Team so far: Fields and AR, Damian Pierce, Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Sky Moore, more Moores, and Dallas Goedert. I cannot complain about this team at all. I wish that I had, and this is something, me putting out into the universe for drafters next year, because I have talked about already my goal for next best ball streaming summer is going to be a draft every day. I think even from the big board, I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Maybe I'll talk myself out of that one after the football season kind of takes it out of me. But that's the goal. And I think trying to max out drafters next year, I think would be plus EV. I'm not going to do it this year because it's too late. It's too late in the cycle. Got to max out DraftKings still. But I do think maxing out drafters next year, assuming it's going same prize pool, I think would be plus EV, because even this team to me feels nice. This is only my sixth team I'm building here. So imagine what you would get in team 60, let alone team, 140. Tony Rich to get rich. We can only hope. I'm excited to see him, man. Very excited to see him play this weekend. There's another fun puff piece I read, and I love reading puff pieces about guys that I want to hear good things about. Talking about, I think it was SI Albert Breer talking about Shane Steichen and how they planned for Anthony Richardson, and basically they were preparing to take any of these rookies, but they had kind of an eye towards AR because they thought they could build some really special stuff. And apparently they've also, at one point in the summer, culled the best running back film from these coach stuff, things that teams are scheming in high school and college football to figure out what weird shit they could do with AR. And I am very excited to see what the results of these guys being in the lab. Jim Bob Cooter, I think, has been kind of hit or miss in his stops, but it does seem like maybe he's learned some from the last few. I think that he and Shane Steichen being together would be really going to be a potent duo based on what that article said. But again, it's a puff piece. So it's just me kind of fulfilling my own biases there. But it felt good. I think the DK $10 is going to overlay. I think it's got a shot. I mean, they basically didn't offer any promos that we would have expected at this point, where I think the promo is you get $10 in DK credits if you draft up to 3 teams. So they just haven't done enough to get people in. My guess, and I think Tom Strackett has been tracking it very aggressively on social media, these tournaments and their fill rates. Feels like, I think he said 80%. So probably a little bit of overlay, but not a crazy amount. But the good news is a little bit of overlay means that then wildcard teams get in, and you don't even have to finish top 2 in your pods to get in necessarily. So definitely going to make for a weird tournament format, but in some respects it might make it more difficult, I guess, because you are getting then these cream of the crop teams that somehow didn't quite make it because maybe bad luck, or teams that started to run hot towards the end of the year, but then didn't quite have enough to jump over, as I got to test some of my 0 RB teams last year fit that criteria. So I think there's definitely a way that could end up being worse for people out there. But obviously having overlay, having wildcard entries, that's always a positive. Not putting faith in Jim Bob Cooter. Sometimes you gotta put faith in a Cooter and you gotta let it ride. All right. We got this team with 4 receivers. I would like to get a 4th or a 5th rather, but I don't know if this pocket makes sense to do that. Rashee Rice apparently going to be working into rotations, not going to be a key part like Sky Moore is expected to be. But I still think Rashee Rice looks pretty good in this range. So let's gobble him up here at our 5th receiver and get another guy who's a spike week guy to go with our kind of pure floor plays of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Davante Adams. Not that those guys have low ceilings or anything, but just every week you expect them to give me 15 to 20 points. They're going to be able to make the roster. So I just want guys who can maybe hit a ceiling that can eclipse that or make up for it if they don't get there somehow. At least that's how I'm viewing it. You have to put anything in your Cooter you don't want to, not faith or anything else. There you go. My Cooter, my rights. That's what we always say here. Splash play. I think we're going to get a good running back coming back too. So that's a positive. Honestly, I could keep making the KC bet, and I do think that'd be pretty unique to take MVS here. It would be bad news for whoever's the Mahomes drafter, because I'm just picking off all the guys that they would get in this range. I could also take Goff as a QB3. I don't think we need that quite as much. 2 running QBs. I think we can push. But Gainwell or Mitchell would look good. Man, this is a tough call. Gainwell and Mitchell would really round out this RB room nicely. MVS, though, would give me this really unique play at receiver that I think goes with a solid baseline. So I'm going to do the KC thing. I think this is pretty unique. I'm sorry if the Mahomes drafters in chat, but I am going to scoop up Rashee Rice and MVS. So we have Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, Dameon Pierce, Jamal Williams, Jalen Warren, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Davante Adams, DJ Moore, and then Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, MVS, and Dallas Goedert. So we got a bet on the non-Tony, non-Kelsey, non-running back Chiefs. And then we have bets on guys who are kind of good PPR guys or good rushers at QB. I like this team a lot. I know this team might not be perfect, stacky structure stuff, but I think this is pretty solid. Start Kindler autoed on Tyler Higbee. That's a tough one. Drafting was definitely more fun even a month ago before the ADP solidified. You're probably right. I mean, I think that's the fun of it, is that you're making a bet and you're seeing your bet materialize in real time. The downside is that you're making a bet and you're seeing your bet potentially go the wrong way, or, or the value's just squeezed out of it. But like, I know for like Tank Bigsby, I talked about, he's probably my biggest ADP jumper. My average ADP on Tank Bigsby is somehow 158 or something. And I think he finished ADP wise in the 115s, so 115 range. So I think it's fun. Like I advocate for drafting throughout the entire draft cycle, but I think now is the time where the most information. Like we know who's got roles, we know who doesn't. That still is going to move around throughout the course of a year, but that's the trade-off, is that you have less efficient ADPs, but more, less likely to take a zero. But the downside is you can't make those bets that could rise, like Jalen Warren, like Bigsby. Those guys in particular stand out for me. A splash play hat? Yes. Yeah, I decided it wasn't a money hat day. I saw the splash play hat sitting there and I thought, why not today? Why not today? I'm always reluctant to wear the hat because it is this beautiful blue. Like I don't want my gross sweat and dirt to ruin the hat. So I never wear the hat as much as I should. It's on me. It's on me for not branding correctly. And of course, shout out Bolick, part of the Squirt Squad. And you too can get this little squirting helmet next to your name every time that I'm doing a live stream, along with custom emojis, me talking to you about, I guess, reviewing your DFS lineups if you want, or still best ball for the next few days. But either way, here you get all of that if you hit that join button down below, $4.99 a month. You get to support the channel. You get to be in the mix. And you get me to treat you with unending respect, unflinching, unending respect. Love, even. Admiration. Lust, sometimes. A little bit of all of the above. Smash or splash. Yes, please like. And I guess while we're whoring, please do like the stream. Oh, we're going to put this all over my face. Here, I'm not even here, guy. Oh, hey, look, a fancy Southern Belle's into the room. It would be great if you beautiful gentlemen out there, you fine, upstanding fellas, would subscribe right now to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment as well. Spags loves getting comments because then he could reply and join the fray. But please do join in here on Splash Play for me, a delicate Southern Belle. Oh, there you go. There goes the delicate Southern Belle. Once again. Pulling a loaf of sourdough out the oven in a minute. What about the bread hat? Oh, well, that's not appropriate for right now for me. But yeah, here's the bread hat. I'll show it to you. Artisano bread. Give me a free hat. I'm taking it. Coming up in the next pick here. So we'll see what we can do. I really think every pick's a luxury pick. At this point, feeling pretty good about this build, feeling good at QB, feeling good at running back, which is crazy. It's only going to get better because I'm playing the hits. Roshan Johnson come on down at running back. So we add Fields, increase our Chicago bet. Things are looking beautiful here on Drafters. Hard to argue it. And of course, oh, fuck, I don't have the banner up. What am I doing? Use the Drafters promo code. It's pinned in the chat, but you can check it out right here. Promo code SPLASH for up to a $100 deposit match for new signups. And if you are a recurring depositor or a redepositor, up to a 20% match up to $500. But go check it out. Frankly, we already hit the amount that I had to hit for it to feel like I returned their investment. So take it if you want, but no, support them out. I think that it's been probably a struggle for them dealing with all the new users coming in. It sounds like. So support our guy, Zach, who's the founder over at Drafters. And again, really nice guy. And hopefully we'll do more with Drafters in the future. I think this has been a fun process. The mobile app, as I talked about, this is not me doing ad stuff. I have to be real about shit with you guys because that's the only thing I have going for me in this industry is just keeping it real. The Drafters app works really well. Like you get your notifications on time. The server stuff, that's been obviously a pain in the ass for some people out there, as I've seen from people that I follow who might have even been our signups. But definitely one of those things that they do try to make it right away. I think they have that underdog philosophy in them where they do care about the community. So check out Drafters and give it a shot. All right. Oh, we got a Cole Kmet lurking around here too. Man, this team, I don't even have to think. Just players on the screen who make sense. Let's read this team aloud. We've got Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson. I didn't take Alec Pierce, but honestly, whatever. If he comes back, great. If not, what are we going to do? Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson. At running back, Damian Pierce, Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, Roshan Johnson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, MVS, Dallas Goedert, Cole Kmet. The risk at this point is really that Pierce and Williams are not quite bell cow range and not able to take a jump in terms of what they're doing. Obviously, I have been a guy, as we talked about earlier. Do you think Singletary has a chance to win a role? But I think this bet on Pierce at that ADP made sense. Same thing for the bet on Javonte going 9 picks after ADP. So I think we've made good bets here, but maybe Still needs a little bit more volume at running back, I think, to give me full confidence. And would be nice to get Alec Pierce if they are, but probably not a must-have. Let's see. I'm forever changed by that monologue. Thank you. I'm glad to be a part of it. Gobble me up, daddy. There we go. Look, the Southern Belle is a beautiful woman. It just sucks that you guys can't see the Southern Belle when I'm drafting in the drafters window because the thing goes over her face. And if you guys only could see the ravishing beauty of that character, oof, you guys would be asking for an OnlyFans even more than you already do. The only thing Spags is going for him is the Squirt Squad's love and juices overflowing. That's true. That does help out. The love and juices and my candor. Those are the two things I think that we have going for us this channel. But I do think this is going to be fun this year for DFS. Like, I think the way that I'm viewing it is like part of why I presume you guys enjoy the draft streams, like the process of it. We're doing a draft. It starts, it ends, it has rounds, things kind of happen, and you can do it at home. I'm hoping that the way that I'm going to do content here for myself on Splash Play is going to be a little more emblematic of like what process looks like, what everything is on different sites. Again, what hand building looks like, what doing with an optimizer looks like, what using Sims looks like. And then still, trying to play or take some stuff out along the way. But I'm hoping it'll be valuable for you guys. So stick along with us here on Splash Play. Hit the subscribe, do all that shit. Do all that shit. I'll forever Pickett for an OnlyFans. I like the idea of you out there, like the Writers Guild strike people and the SAG-AFTRA strike, just going out there picketing, going, we won an OnlyFans for this niche fantasy football podcast that does a lot better in best ball season. Also, this would be on the OnlyFans too, is me fucking, this is not how you pick it. This is not, this is how you churn butter or jerk off a giant. A giant with a narrow dong either, because my hands were not exterior. There you go. This isn't the Lena the Plug video I was looking for. Yes, Adam22, the man who once wanted to hire me for no jumper to help bring the Barstool world to no jumper. And then I saw his dick during the interview process because he was doing porn with his wife. And I thought, bridge too far unless they're paying me a lot of money. And they didn't come in with enough money. Hey, shout out Joanna. The ladies here love to see the boys churning butter. Currently waiting for a stranger to enter the room and fondle me. That's the Splash Play difference, folks. You get to watch a draft, you get some good football takes, and then you worry about a stranger breaking in and churning your butter in the house. Did I see the stochastic price changes for the Sims? No. If you want to tell me about it, I'm happy to hear. I thought they were cheap. They're like $200 a month, aren't they? Or cheap relative to the theoretical parts. Theoretical winners. That's not the case on Stochastic. That was another bit of a tidbit that I heard. If you are curious about taking the leap for Stochastic Sims, apparently they're like very similar to the same process that like a lot of the guys behind the scenes there, Alex, Steve, Sean Zahn have been using for years. So if you want any more faith in the product, I don't know that you can get any more than that. Okay, we said we still need running backs. I think Jeff Wilson's okay in general, but I'm not going to take him at ADP. I do think Rashid Shaheed makes sense for this build as a pure veteran best ball guy, but I'm going to get Jerome Ford, who we know has a little bit of a role. I think makes sense here to give us some production in case that Pierce and Javonte Williams are more committee backs, which is fine. Like, I don't think this lineup dies if Pierce and Javonte aren't bell cow backs. This lineup just gets a lot easier if they are. But if they're just, committee backs, then whatever. Then we'll have volume at running backs to make up for it. Oh, good point. Where's my football? Guys, if you didn't see it, I have a football. It's pumped up. Well, I'm throwing it. I'm catching it. Oh, my God, man. Did you see those hands? I'm a guy that knows ball. It's evidenced by me timidly throwing a football and hoping it doesn't break the electronics around me. But, woo, there we go. All hands. That's a George Pickens catch right there. I'm in a couple DK and FanDuel leagues. What would you suggest just playing the optimal lineup? If you are in a smaller league, yeah, just play the optimal. If you're in a larger league, like on the Stochastic Sims, you can adjust it based on the prize pool. But if you're in a larger league, I would think you go. Let me think this through real fast. So Jeff Wilson apparently only going to be out 5 weeks. Even if 5 weeks is 8 weeks, I think it still makes sense in this build. But I do think Rashid Shaheed brings a downfield presence that we could use here for the best ball upside. So I'm going to put Shaheed in here. I think a similar bet to KC. So basically, just we're trying to supplement, again, this baseline we have of Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, and DJ Moore to a lesser extent with guys that can give me spike weeks. And I do think Shaheed definitely fits that vibe. Oh, for the small price of $800 a month, you get sim all sports. Wow. Yeah, I guess you got to choose one at that point. Yeah, the tough part is that, I think Justin Freeman talked about that, not Justin Watson. The Kansas City Chiefs, Justin Watson talked about it on Lulz. No, Justin Freeman talked about it on Lulz, where he was, saying like, do you charge 10 people $1,000 or do you charge 100 people $100 or whatever? I forgot the exact math that he had on it. But point being, like, I think that's a real challenge to figure out. Clearly, they have people willing to pay for it. I know firsthand part of why I was like, can I just get access to this? Was because I know these guys were crushing during baseball season, and I don't want to run into the buzzsaw. So I just think it comes down to like, how seriously do you take your DFS play? Are you going to be in tournaments where it's like the 150 maxers going after stuff? If you are, I would be inclined to have the sims. If you're doing the large field single entries, I think you still probably want to have the sims. So you have your best lineup, or at least what the best simulated lineup is. It's tough, man, because I always try to advocate for like what's going to make people's money last the longest. That's what I care about. I don't want people to ever go broke doing this shit, because I think it's sad, and it also just bums me out. But I think that, if you're going to do anything where there's a big prize on the line, you should probably try to get sims if you can somehow, or gravitate towards guys like me. Follow the free stuff on Stochastic and see if you can glom some of that information. But yeah, like, I think unless you're just doing like friends leagues, like, I think you probably need sim products. But we'll find out. Like, you can still hit moonshots. Like, I think you'd still have the same upside opportunity you had before. It's just going to be, instead of like, 10 to 20 150 maxers having a product, it's now 10 to 20 150 maxers plus, another 10 to 20 aspirational 150 maxers plus guys putting in 50 entries. Like, that's probably more where I'll be for most weeks. So I think you're running into a potential buzzsaw, but if weeks that the sim is wrong, like, you can win. It's tough. This guy knows ball and simulations. Who else out there knows ball and simulations besides many smarter data people than me? Shout out Brandon. Yeah, Brandon, I saw, was one of the guys having some troubles with drafters. Yeah, hopefully they made it right for you, Brandon. I do think Zach over there will do the best he can to keep you guys happy. They broke out the sims by sport. $200 a month for NFL, $115 a month for NBA, $180 a month for MLB, and then they also need to pay for tennis, college football projections separately as well. Yeah, that's tough. I think it's also tough because, for them, like, they are supporting the ecosystem of a lot of top players that are certainly making a lot of money off their products. I think, again, it was another Lulz episode, which I do think they do a great job, Pete and Brick, talking about these kind of overarching things. Is like, the site would almost benefit more from just taking rake from players that are using their stuff and doing well, and then they don't have to charge that much. But I can't begrudge them. Like, market's going to pay what the market's going to pay. If you see a lot of promos coming out, that means they probably didn't sell as much as they would like, would be my guess. But I don't think they're going to have problems selling, from what I've heard, because I think they've proven it with their track record. Like, there's not, the theoretical winners thing was a joke that the guys made about ETR, even though established the run guys have certainly won their fair amount of tournaments. But like Stochastic, you want to talk about proven winners. Like, I know from working there and how much those guys helped my process that they have the most proven winners by like a wide margin. I think maybe Run Pierce close. All right, let's take another running back here. We got the fall in Jeff Wilson. Again, I think Jeff Wilson, if he's your sixth running back at this point, no matter what site, I'm happy to absorb the risk there. We just look, if you're a zero RB team, and a lot of my teams, even this one, is still zero RB adjacent, I think what you're always trying to do is just, can we survive long enough? Can we cobble together enough 10 to 20 point weeks at running back to fight off the occasional 30-point week from one of the guys in the first two rounds? And I do think this running back room allows that opportunity. So I'll make one more pick here. Then we'll do a team read with 2 more rounds to go. And then one more draft coming up here on Drafters. And we will close out our Drafters run for the season. Nobody here looks too good. So we are going to have to scroll. Terrace Marshall's another boom guy. I think I'm happy to do that. Maybe should have reached for Josh Downs. I don't even know if Downs might have gone. No, Josh Downs already went. Wow. Josh Downs going round 17 to a non-AR drafter. Feels a little bit nuts, but all right. Terrace Marshall, one of my dudes, again, back in practice after the back issues that he had. I still think he is a guy that can easily win a role over DJ Chark if he actually gets the opportunity to be healthy and on the field. I think that Terrace Marshall, again, he's one of my higher exposed receivers on Underdog. I don't know that I love that as an undrafted guy, but I have been 14% on there. For a site like Drafters, I think he'll give you a couple spike weeks, and I think unexpected spike weeks as well. So that'll be a positive. Brick was saying he loves the price change. Just wonder why. I mean, good. There has to be a barrier to entry for it, I think. And, I'm happy to find the barrier for myself. The barrier's doing one show a week for them, and I was able to go, hey, can I get that product? So I'll share with you guys how that goes. I will also try to use Run the Sims. I think what I'm going to try to do is, assuming that Justin gives me the access, like I'm going to do Stochastic 1 week, Run the Sims 1 week, maybe combine them the third week and see what I can do. But I'm going to play with it. I'm going to have some fun with it. Do people run Sims for best ball? I think people do. I know Leone did for his best ball manifesto, as he ran simulations based upon lineups that were in BBM3. So people do it, but it's hard because I don't think you have the same level of success, in terms of trying to emulate a field and all that. And also because of how rooms are so varied, you can get guys and like they matter according to ADP, but they might not matter relative to a sim. Like, and the rooms are going to be different, so you can't even build a perfectly simulated team anyway. But theoretically, I guess you could do like a standard deviation or a play-by-play over the course of a season. But I don't think it gives you enough of an edge in best ball, at least right now, in a way that anybody can figure out. But I think the Leone Sims that he had in that ETR best ball manifesto, which I've said best written best ball manifesto thing, if you're jumping into the space, read that before you do anything. I think that he probably had the closest version of what optimal lineups look like, which is game stacks of 9 players, 2 QBs, ideally not 3 QBs. I think that's sort of the thing that I would look at as what the simulation ethos kind of would be. You also have to simulate an entire NFL season just to then simulate a single week at the end. Yeah, there you go. So it's a simulation on top of a simulation, which is it's just not gonna work. The math's not gonna math, especially when you combine that with how rooms are gonna differ. Where like a simulation might not have, I don't know, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, whatever is like a really unique team in the beginning. Andrews and Lamar. A simulation might not have that as part of its lineup build, but it can happen in a room, but it can only happen in a room so often. So that just makes it kind of I think a delicate thing to unpack. Best vibes ball. Yeah, that's the best simulation you can do is a vibes-based one. Can I simulate the vibes of how I'm going to feel when I make these picks? Okay. If they're okay, then we're good. All right. I think I'm going to take one Colt with my last pick. All the good Colts are gone, so really don't even have to if I don't want to. Jimmy G also went. I think I'm going to take another receiver here. John Mechie was at one point a drafted player. He is no longer. But I think Mechie here, again, another guy that I think will earn some end zone and red zone targets in Houston. That was one of his skills at Bama, despite him not being a big dude. But Mechie, I hope Mechie is back. There was not a lot of great camp buzz around Mechie. Not that there was for anybody on Houston, so take that for what it's worth. But I think Mechie, to me, is still a guy, Bama pedigree. No mileage on him because he had to deal with the leukemia last year. All right, last pick here. I think could go a third tight end. Probably don't need to go a third QB. Myles Gaskin, kind of interesting as a mostly undrafted guy. I'm going to go with that. I think there's a world where Myles Gaskin gets on the field. I think the logic why he was signed by Minnesota was that they don't have the full confidence. Obviously, they moved Dwayne McBride to the practice squad, but I think they also don't have the full confidence in Ty Chandler. Myles Gaskin was a guy that Brian Flores ran into the ground. He's currently the Vikings DC. So let's read this team out loud, and we do one more draft here coming up. Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, Damian Pierce, Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, Roshan Johnson, Jerome Ford, Jeff Wilson, and Myles Gaskin, former teammates, now going head-to-head as guys who probably won't get many carries. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, MVS, Rashid Shaheed, Terrace Marshall, and John Mechie. Maybe could have gotten one less receiver here, one more tight end. Mijami here saying I like 3 tight ends in this format. I agree. I think I got enough talent in at tight end where I'm not worried about it. But definitely where it is a 17-week season, I do think you probably want to give yourself a shot at more usable weeks, more floor weeks at tight end. So you could have made the case I could have probably taken a third tight end over Mechie or Gaskin, but we didn't do it. All right, let's hit another draft, guys. This will be the last draft we do on stream this year. Again, tomorrow will be me closing out my DraftKings 150, but here we're going to hit drafters where it is a $20 entry to win $300K. Very nice tournament structures you saw here. I think you can build some fun teams, and I'm going to join it right now. So draft along with me, and hopefully we won't have too long of a wait time on here. All right, 3 more in. Who will be the lucky 3 in chat? Ooh, I'm so curious. Who's it going to be? Who's going to get sniped by me inadvertently like Starkindler did last time out? Yeah, you're right. I forgot about Granson. I did forget about Kylan Granson. Not Kyron. Kyron Williams, Kylan Granson. Love a mystery threesome. Yeah, everybody just wearing a bag on their head. DraftKings tomorrow. Let's go. Yeah, DraftKings tomorrow will be gratifying. Like the 150 for BBM. Honestly, doing drafts after doing the 150 for BBM on Sunday, like it just feels weird. Like it's like, that was like the swan song. DraftKings though tomorrow is like, we've been building up to this boss battle the entire year with 8-hour marathons, me getting sniped left and right. But we are in this room here now. I'm going to hit the I'm ready, let's go button. We'll see if anybody else does. Tough that you have to get all 12 to vote for it. I feel like nobody ever, I have not seen it once work that all 12 have clicked it, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Farrow is cut. Farrow is among the cuts, and Mo Alley still hanging on. Jelani Woods on IR. Will Mallory, by the way, guy that I'm the only person in the fantasy industry to ever have mentioned. He's live to, I think, have a role. It's going to be like Kylan Granson to start. Absolutely. He's been running with the first team all offseason. Will Mallory is probably a better tight end prospect, I would think. And this regime drafted him again, which doesn't matter. Regime's drafting. Always going to be pushing their guys to make it look like they had a better draft than they did. You know, the dude, tell him to make the I'm ready a pop-up. That's true. I guess that's a feedback point I'll provide Zach. The thing is, like, I still think it wouldn't work because I bet there's a lot of people who just like answer it and they go, good, now I have 2 minutes to finish up whatever I'm doing and then I'll focus. I don't know. Hard to do, like, user experience stuff is I'm going to find out with Probly, which again, I dropped the link in the chat earlier. If you want to check it out, I'll drop it one more time. Here's our beta product, which is only for the VIPs, our wait list, and for all of you guys who are watching Splash Play. As I learned from this stuff, like it's hard to predict what users are going to do and hard to make them do the thing you want them to do. So I would bet even if you made this big, even if you made it like sirens and flashing alarms, I bet you still would have one person in every draft room who didn't click the I am ready, let's draft button. That would be my guess. What did Jelani do that hammy? I mean, he must have had the much ballyhooed about Jerry Jeudy, like a grade 2 strain, I guess. He's also just a huge dude. So I guess, like, you know, as I talked about with Darnell Washington earlier in the draft process, and I think might be part of why he fell. When you're that big, it's just hard to expect full health. Like, you're not really aligning in the way that is meant to for your body to be functional. You can see how NBA players run sometimes. They just don't look that good. And we're in the number 1 hole here, the influential 1 hole on drafters. And that's fucking Justin Jefferson. Maybe you're willing to take a flyer on McCaffrey a little bit more so on drafters at the 101, but I don't have enough entries to worry about that. I'm going to get to 10 entries in this, and that'll probably be it for me. So I think for this one, to me, Jefferson in the 1 hole makes more sense. But obviously, I'm also a receiver stan. What am I going to do? I know ball. He dropped his duck while peeing. I presume that was supposed to be Dick, but it's funnier to imagine him holding his pet duck. Jelani Woods, a 6'5" man, and he's like, oh no, my duck. And then he hurt his hamstring trying to scramble to pick up the duck who's flapping around. Quack, 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 quack. Oh, my hamstring. I'm going to be out for 7 months. I'm Jelani Woods. This is my Jelani Woods impression. Jelani Woods, proud duck owner. A lot of stress in the hamstrings with all that weight hanging from his pelvis. He's carrying a duck is hard. Ducks can be heavy. Please don't be mad. I really wasn't ready. There, see, Ben's the use case. Ben wasn't ready, and he's why we had to sit here and talk about Jelani Woods dropping his duck. Pantsless Donald Duck being dropped by Jelani Woods. Thank you. I love these streams so much. The scene work is top notch. Thank you. And, you know, every day I just say yes and to myself when doing these characters. There's always a Ben. There is always a Ben. Sounds like we're turning into Elon Musk here. We're complaining about too many Bens. The Bens cost me $22 billion of my product. That might be a deep cut joke, but but it's got to hit for somebody, right? Jelani's feeding the ducks. I do like the idea of just Jelani being this like, I have a pet duck and I've loved him since I was in college. I bring my duck around everywhere with me. This is a silly thing for a gigantic man to have, and I'd support it. All right, we got normal drafts so far. Eckler, Kelsey. See where Kupp goes. Kupp last time went at the 25 pick, which means he would come back to me theoretically, and I think I would have a hard time passing up Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is wide receiver 3, would be pretty fucking sick. So I'm eyeing that one up. Maybe Cooper Kupp and we reach for Christian Watson for the week 17 correlation. No. Jelani Woods easily has the biggest duck in the league. He's got Duckman from the 90s animated show on USA Network that I loved a lot as a kid. So that's a boomer reference for anybody out there. Bullock is like, Duckman, a duck who's a detective? He's an alcoholic detective with a tough relationship? What kind of show are you watching? Duckman, though, is a fucking wild show. I loved that show when I was a kid. Probably should not have been watching it as a kid in hindsight. Oh, good point. You know what? I'm off today. The Daffy Duck gif, this is more relevant than ever. The Bullock is now, his chat is blocking and jerking off. Bullock, the Puritan here, won't allow us to see Daffy. There goes Daffy. I'm sorry I hurt your hamstring, my hamstring, Jelani. I'm so sorry. Just keep this up over my face. This is actually the guy who's drafting the team right now. Howard. Oh yeah, Howard the Duck. Another adult duck with problems. another grown weird ass duck. Darnell Washington, probably a low key duck guy. Yeah, he's probably got some big ducks pushing that sled with him every single time. Darkwing Duck, a great duck as well. I remember when there was a joke tweet that the creator of BoJack Horseman did at one point where he was like, yeah, I'm going to do a show about like a murderous version of Darkwing Duck made for adults only. People thought it was real, and it ended up just being a Twitter bit that he did over and over and over again over the course of like 5 years on Twitter. But if Darkwing Duck came back in an adult themed like animated show, I'd be there. I'd be there day one. I'd give it a shot. Just Darkwing and Launchpad Eiffel Towering people. For no reason, just gratuitous Darkwing Duck Launchpad Eiffel Tower sex scene. And this is what you get in draft too. Good time as well to say we're drafting on Drafters, and you should use that promo code here. No ducks allowed on Drafters, but use the promo code SPLASH for a $100 deposit match if you are a new signup, and use the promo code SPLASH100 for up to a 20% deposit match for any deposit up to $500. So check that out. SPLASH100 if you're a redepositor. If you're a new depositor, bring your duck on over. Use the promo code SPLASH. Bring that big old duck of yours. I know how to play Deuce Vaughn without the Sims. I think the Sims would actually kick you out of the app if you were like, can I up my Deuce Vaughn exposure? They're like, his ROI is negative 750 million %. Don't play Deuce Vaughn ever. Big duck energy. That's what we bring every stream here. So Cooper Kupp went safely fucking in the first round. So Cooper Kupp not going to be our value play du jour here, but we are going to get ourselves an elite tight end in Mark Andrews. And you know what? Like, I'm going to draft, like I've seen people draft here. I'm just going to draft like the top QB. So we drafted a tight end that I think can be tight end one. We're drafting a QB who can be QB one. I sniped somebody along the way who had AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Sorry. But Jefferson, Andrews, Hurts, we're just playing for guys that are going to make our line, but maybe have a season-defining year at those positions. So tried something different here. Of course, still not drafting a running back as fuck running backs. What are they doing? Get it together, running backs. Oh, shit, you're right. I always forget to take off the jersey, unless historical anomalies reminds me. But I have not drafted AR this draft, so I do not get to wear the AR jersey yet. If I draft him again, I get to put it on. Those are just the rules we have here on Splash Play. We have two simple rules. Bring your biggest duck, and also you can only wear the Richardson jersey when drafting Anthony Richardson. We're simple folk, but we have laws that govern us. I've produced a child Bullock, so proof right there. And he looks just like me, but with Alex's color palette. So there you go. He's a little fair-skinned bitch with blonde hair, but his face looks exactly like me doing everything. So imagine that for yourself. I'm not going to bring him on stream, though, because he's at daycare. I don't have to worry about him right now. But yeah, back in the day, man, sex is pretty good. Pretty cool to have back in the day. But now the sex I have is drafting Jalen Hurts, Justin Jefferson, and Mark Andrews on Drafters, which some could say is even better. It's like going to the biggest duck in town and bringing him to the state fair. It's the kind of joy you get drafting a team like this one. Childless receipt. It's true. Nobody can ever tell me that. At Barcelona, they used to make the gay jokes about me, go like, oh, this gay guy, blah, blah, to the point that, again, I was once called an F-bomb by the producer, Sean McLaughlin, or Sean Laughlin, whatever his name is, big, fat fucking slob who sucks, and now I think works for like one of the MMA fighting leagues if he still has a job there. Piece of shit guy. Point being, though, I've dealt with gay jokes before, and you know what I could say to all those historical gay jokes? Look at me now with this baby that I have to fucking deal with waking us up every night. That's how you show them. That's how you show them. Honestly, I would rather have sleep every day and just be doing gay stuff. At this point, I'm so tired, man. And I'm not even the one doing the overnights. I just get woken up and harassed. And then now Alex is to the point where she'll let the baby just walk, like run into the room at fucking 7 a.m. and say hi. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm now getting it even if I'm not on duty. It's cute. I don't want it. I'll see him at 5. Gay jokes are so lame in 1995 middle school. I agree. I think it's funnier to do the inverse, but I just made it a thing where, like, you know, I tried to make it a silly bit because I didn't want to get the company in trouble or anything. Because I don't think that's worth it for the company to suffer, or a company that has enough PR hits. Little did I know that I would give them another one with the Rihanna stuff in a couple months. The point being, I thought it was more funny just to like wear rainbow flags and stuff and call myself the pride of pride. I think it's funny. And but it's funny, but it's also like, it shouldn't be taboo. Like, I don't fucking care. I had gay cousins and uncles growing up, I think, not together, but they were like great guys, very into art. So stereotypes are true. Did they have big ducks? I don't recall. Imagine drafting an RB. I would throw up in my own mouth if I had to draft a running back at this point. I got to say, though, the more you hear about these committee backfields, the more you hear about Breece Hall and a 50-50. And I know, like, the bet is still that Breece will win the role as time goes on. He gets healthier. The more you hear about the stuff, though, the more I'm like, you know what, man, I'm really glad that I've had the takes I've had about running backs because I just don't see it. Let's draft a couple receivers, though. I think that'd be pretty sick right now. I don't love Deontay Johnson, but I do think he looks better in a PPR format. Honestly, probably should have a higher ADP than Pickens at this level. You know what? That actually might be fun. So Pickens is so far away in ADP, but he's not going to come back to me at 72. This is such a reach, but I am going to do it. I'm going to try to get a Pittsburgh stack with this baseline we have, where, again, I think we've got the best QB in the game. I think we've got a guy who can be tight end 1, even if it's not the highest probability outcome. It's still Kelsey. But then we can make a bet on Pittsburgh with it. So I think this works. I think this fits how I would attack a drafter's build, where we want to get like some star power in. We want to get some guys who give us a baseline, and then we want parts of a team that can excel with it. So last draft, that was the Chiefs receivers. Here, it's going to be building out Pittsburgh without Najee Harris because he's disgusting and he's a running back and we hate him. But besides that, I think we're good. He gets open, that Deontay Johnson. That's what people say. Apparently great route runner. Didn't show in any of his numbers last year. Sure. Sure, he let the team down relative to every metric. It's an advanced analytic you can find. But he'll be better, right? He'll be better, and Pickens will be great, and we'll be thriving. We'll be thriving. Me and Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett apparently had a real sick wedding, was in that athletic profile about him. So this is what I read right before the show, so it's top of mind. He had a raw sushi bar, a lobster bar, seafood bar, which, again, this is a lot of redundancies there, but these were all bars. And he had a ribeye steak cutting bar. Kenny Pickett's wedding, man. I wish I had been doing the Steelers bit last year, so I could have maybe gotten an invite for being the only guy who believed in Kenny Pickett. But no, it's sick wedding for Kenny Pickett. Thank you. As evidenced, I know Ball, evidenced by the fact that I'm holding a football. Could I hold this football if I didn't know Ball? No, it would be like Thor's hammer. It would, it's too heavy. It's too heavy. No, I can lift this up with ease. Can't spin it on my finger, though. That's about as good as we're going to get. You need to be more friends with more rich people. Dude, like rich people weddings, like even like the wealthier Jewish friends I had in high school, I remember one of them had a wedding at a temple, which had like a side, like a reception area, I guess would be the best way to put it. But it was like incredibly swank in a way where I did not expect from it being attached to a temple. And they had the best infused vodkas, were like with real fruit. So sick. It was so sick. Went to a wedding, went to the chocolate fountain. That was a gaudy, rich Italian wedding. That one was pretty fun. But you can't beat having 3 different kinds of food bars at your wedding. And also just not making people order off the menu. Like, that's a win. Oh, there we go, Jerry. Good morning, Dalvin Cook drafters. I'm Jerry. I'm back in chat. Jerry, keep saying things so I could do them in this voice. Oh, I can't hold the ball. I'm Jerry. Jerry doesn't know ball. Oh, I can't lift this football. I'm Jerry. Shout out Jerry. Shout out Jerry, my best friend. Jerry's in chat. You look excited. Am I trying to max drafters? Nah, I'm gonna get in 10 entries and I'll feel good about that. I can't I can't be that obsessive about it. I got to hit, before we do the stream tomorrow, I've got to get 4 more on DraftKings, so I'll be doing that today. Alcohol and Temples, classic pairing. Yeah, they just needed to have like a tattoo stand next to it. Get yourself banned from being buried anywhere nearby. Get a tattoo. What did my wedding look like, Spags? Non-existent. We didn't have one. We just did courthouse paperwork, and then we're going to do a celebration of life at some point when we have money and Luke is old enough to participate. But we're a non-traditional household. We got impregnated out of sequence, then did the courthouse marriage, then did a proposal, then, but we know what it is. Again, we bought the house together. Once you buy the house and you have the baby, to me, that's what marriage is. That was the sacrifice. That was me giving of myself and saying, all right, I'm fucking out of the game, I guess. So, and we are on the same page with that, thankfully. I personally, though, can't imagine putting up 50 to 100K for a wedding. Went to a wedding in Mexico in March, which you might remember from me being off for a week here. And beautiful wedding, really good time. I don't know, inclusive resort. And then they had a nice venue near it. So sick. They paid $100,000, including a nice dress and all the stuff for the wedding. And it was a beautiful thing, but fuck $100,000 for that. I'd rather buy another house or upgrade our house. We're on the clock, though, so let's figure out George Kittle with the hamstring issues, Mike Evans, contract stuff hovering over his head, Jonathan Taylor lurking around. I think Miles Sanders works here. I think he's a nice bet to make as a running back that I think probably undervalued over the course of this entire offseason. Minnesota-wise, nothing to grab here. Zay Flowers is fine. Do I end the Taylor run here and hope he plays? I think I do. I think we need running backs in. Let's take 2 that are probably a little bit undervalued. I guess Sanders falls in enough rooms, or you could make the case that he's probably not appropriately valued, taking him at ADP. But Sanders at 72, Taylor, team so far, Hurts at QB, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Mark Andrews. Thought about taking Goddard there, thought about taking Swift there to increase the Hurts bet. But I think I'm going to make this team a little bit less stacky than usual, besides my secondary stack. I don't know if that's the wisest move, but I just couldn't justify taking Goddard when we already have Andrews. So there we go. Weddings overrated. Total scam. Celebration of life is what they call funerals nowadays. Oh, no, I didn't mean, well, I guess it does fit that they would call a celebration of life that. But I think to me, it's more about, I want to celebrate the fact that we've kept a child alive. I want to celebrate that. But I know for Alex, she still wants to do I'm the focal point of attention and I look beautiful things. So we'll figure it out. It's not a priority. I think when you have a child, it's just everything else becomes not a priority besides surviving day to day would be how I would put it. It's just getting through each day, dealing with the sleep regressions, which Luke has hit every single one you possibly can. The boy just wants to be awake, living life, playing with big ducks. That's what he's looking for. Oh, we're pissing over here. Sanders isn't an Eagle anymore. I do. I'm aware. But I think the issue is Swift, I don't need to take him at ADP because I can get Rashad Penny later. I can get Kenneth Gainwell later. And then with Goddard, I already had Andrews. So I don't need bully tight end. I guess on drafters, bully tight end makes a little more sense as a play. Especially if you do get a Hurts, if you're getting potential QB1 and wide receiver 1, maybe if you also get RB1 somehow in that process. But I do think Andrews and Goddard felt a little bit too much for me. To say in honor of for your party theme, just note that everyone's fine. You just deserve it. I saw a bar do that for a dog once. If I could get my wedding style celebration to be similar to a dog's birthday party, that's how you'll know that we've made somebody happy along the way. I saw them do it for a dog once. I don't think there's anything in life that I want to do. And then here, I saw them do it for a dog once. Expressing anal glands, that's a no. Don't want that. Gave them food off the floor. Don't want that. I don't know what dogs are getting. Listen to morning radio. Taco Bell Cantina wedding in Vegas for 777. Oh, I'm sure Alex would love that. Get a Baja Blast fountain. They probably wouldn't even give you that. They would give you just like a coupon for a Baja Blast. Awful, awful. But you'd save money. And that's the important thing, right? Be a wedding. What are the biggest wastes of money and like that are just kind of social, like college weddings? Like those are the two big ones that I would point to right away. Maybe home ownership. Like home ownership, I get it. I don't think I talked about this on stream last week or 2 weeks ago. We had a dead squirrel and a dead mouse, like a dead squirrel backyard, dead mouse front yard. I was like, I don't think the wildlife control people are going to get here fast enough, so I'm just going to throw them in the trash. So I got my snow shovel, scooped them up, put them in contractor bags, and then stupidly put the contractor bag at the bottom of the trash can. So basically what happened is that, and this is going to be gross, guys. I'm sorry. It's early in the morning. If you're eating lunch or breakfast, my apologies. The things just rotted in there. They just rotted. And then we got maggots. And then it was really, really stinky. And I had to figure out how to get the bag out and put it in another bag so the garbage people would take it. So home ownership, I would put it into is like, this is kind of a scam. Like somebody would do this for me if I had an apartment, and yet here I am on my own trying to get rid of a fucking squirrel that died because it fucking had brain trauma. Like it fell out of the tree, I guess, and cracked its head. And it's just sad. It's not a Disney movie. If it is, it would be a very poorly received one. But we've got some players to pick here. While back on topic, I do believe in Michael Thomas. I believe in Michael. I'm going to take him here. And where does Kirk goes a little bit later? Let's see if we can push old Kirk to 120. But then that would make it a 3 QB build, which I also don't need. Connor, nice value at this point. Let's just scoop the ADP value in Connor. So we got a third running back in here. Team so far: Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Michael Thomas, and Mark Andrews. No, it's perfect team. No flaws. No flaws at all. Is there anything more satisfying than the Drafters bloop sound? So the funny thing with the Drafters bloop sound, I now can't hear it because Consigliere asked me to mute it. So I don't hear it, but I think you guys still hear it on the stream somehow, which I don't know how that's possible. I got to tell you. Let's see. Funerals, waste of money. It's true. Weddings industry, predatory as fuck. It's true. Dog birthday parties are dangerous. Blackout at 1. I've not gone to a lot of dog birthday parties. I would do like informal celebrations with whoever, like whatever girlfriend I had at the time, or just me and myself with the dogs. But I never was like, let's do a dog birthday party. So I guess I can't relate fully. Once they go to pre and first, you miss them waking you up. Feel awful waking my 4-year-old daughter from a dead sleep to go to school at 7:30. I could see how that'd be a bummer. And it also just like really does feel circle of life, where I'm sure we all remember the days when we were kids and didn't want to go to school. And in hindsight, now that I have a child, where like Luca was off yesterday for Labor Day, and it's like, fuck, we're paying for a day of daycare. Like you don't get that money back. And also we have to take care of him for the entire day and like entertain him and do stuff. And I love him. He's like fun to hang out with, stuff, very funny, but still a little bitch about eating and sleeping. Like those are core things that daddy and mommy both enjoy very much, yet he won't give it to us. I had a squirrel stuck in my fireplace. Took a week to catch him, but I saved that $300. Jesus. Wait, so you have to pay animal control? I thought animal control is like a free township thing where they come out and they're like, hey, you can't have animal corpses around, so we take them. You break it, we bought it kind of thing. I don't know. There's a squirrel lady in LA that will come get any squirrels you find if they're hurt or orphaned. I mean, this one was just dead. My guess was that we have a very large tree. My guess was that it fell out of the tree and smashed its head, which what kind of squirrel? Like if you're a squirrel and you die like that, that's like Squirrel Darwin Awards. You can't be the squirrel that dies falling out of a tree and hitting your head. It's just embarrassing. But yeah, man, I'll tell you what, when squirrels rot though, they are stinky. You don't want that. That's my life lesson for all you guys out there. Rotting corpses of animals. For anybody joining the stream right now, I think it's time to give a little palate cleanser here. I'm a fancy, beautiful Southern belle, and I've just come in briefly to all this uncouth talk about squirrel corpses. I simply want to see some fine folks subscribing to this channel. I want to see you guys click that like button as well. I want to say I'm kind of sounding like the old pervy guy on Family Guy, but that's okay. That's just what us Southern belles do sometimes with our syrupy drawl. But either way, subscribe to Splash Play and get rid of your squirrel corpses in timely fashions. Y'all take care now, you hear? Ah, there she goes. Oh. I don't know why I did that like I hit her like a home run. It's far, it's wide. That Southern woman's flying through the air over the wall. They're not going to make a play on her. Southern Belle's doing good. I'm glad Katie likes the Southern Belle. I thought just the fellas were falling in love with her. I'm glad to hear that Katie also likes it. Get your lives together. Hit the like button. Yeah, I need those likes. These likes are what pay the bills around here. Like, literally. So smash that like button. I can afford to feed my child Uncrustables, which you can pay for in likes. Fun fact. You don't know if you're not in the creator economy. Uncrustables says, hey, just come bring us all your likes. Show us on social media the likes you have, and we'll give you Uncrustables. Come for the draft, stay for the monologues. It's true. Maybe he was murdered by other squirrels. Well, the evidence is gone. Besides the remaining maggots who were just hanging out, I'm sorry. This is so gross. But there's like 3 maggots who are still just hanging out at the bottom of the trash can. Like, well, we came and fucking the party's over, but we're not leaving. So they're just fucking 3 maggots. And I should just spray bleach on them or something. They're entitled to a life. They might grow up and become an upstanding fly one day, right? That's how that works. Not a successful gambler. I mean, look, we're going to come back after week 1 when I win $1 million with Baker Mayfield, and we're all going to laugh. We're all going to laugh. Uncrustables are not bad in a pinch. You let those shits thaw out, they're actually pretty tasty. Like, it's just straight white bread, sugary white bread, and peanut butter and jelly. But I agree. Uncrustables, I would trade likes for Uncrustables any day. We're on the clock, though. So we got Cousins falling, which feels pretty good. I think that might make sense just to scoop him here. And where does Pickett usually go? So Pickett normally goes 151. So we should theoretically get a crack on him at the way back. Do I trust the room? Do I trust the room? Is there anybody worth passing on Pickett for? I don't trust the room, but I'm going to take Cousins with his first pick. And then I'm going to go Rashad Penny with the second one. And now we'll see. I was thinking about Bigsby. I was thinking about Mims, maybe. Could use more receivers, absolutely, at this point. But team so far, Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Rashad Penny, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson. I was thinking Quentin Johnson, but I knew that wasn't correct. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Michael Thomas, Mark Andrews. So again, I love the team. I think because of me building the way I did and also scooping up Jonathan Taylor, now spent a little too much capital at running back, including one guy who we'll see what happens with Jonathan Taylor. Still think it behooves him to play for the Colts, but it feels worse by the day somehow. It's also possible, again, week 1 runs hot for the Colts. He sees, Deion Jackson and Evan Hull combining for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he goes, I got to get back out there or else my value is going to go down even further. So that's a possibility still. But Taylor, the out, I guess, is him playing for the Colts, him getting traded still. But what's the probability on Taylor not playing a snap all year? I think it's got to be 25 at this point, maybe 30 if he's still accruing contract time because he's on the PUP list. So I'd say 25% that he doesn't play a snap. I'll take that at pick 73, I guess. Uncrustables snack, underrated munchie food. There we go. The Uncrustables gang is live here. We like big ducks and we like Uncrustables. And yet, I think even successful gamblers need to tout. I think that's fair. It's also hard to make up a, I don't want to reveal my salary number that Football Outsiders was supposed to be paying me. I think I vaguely did previously, but that was got to make up 6 figures and, and another 5 on top of that. So I gotta really gamble and win hard, or sell a lot of Probly memberships, which of course probably should be coming out on Thursday. Follow at Probly app on Twitter. That'll be the way that I push the information out, and more to come for Probly in the next few weeks. You're gonna be hearing more about it on here. I'll try not to make the promotion annoying, but obviously going to be a big focus of my football season, as well as selling memberships, the best betting data you can find and use out of the pocket. Use out of your pocket on your mobile phone. Can you imagine that? Other sites are great. I talk about a lot of them. Unabated, great. OddsJam, our data partner, great. You got to be on a desktop for Probably. We just hold up a football and we just swipe the days away. I hope I do both as well. I really think I'm going to win the week 1 Million Maker. That's how I'm feeling about it. So I'm going to win big right away. And then the rest of the year would just be a free roll. Would just be like fuck it, man. I don't have to just I'll push Probly, I'll push Splash Play, but I'll just vibe besides that. And that'd be looking pretty good. Spags, how was the holiday weekend? It was good. Thank you, B-Mac. Made some ribs for the family on Sunday. Got out of, for people who watched the Saturday stream, got out of going to our friend's pool on Saturday, which I think worked out well because it was all just girls there. And I don't need to hang out with 5 women and my baby, in which I'm going to have to then do all the baby work. So that worked out well. And yesterday we just did family stuff. So that was good. Yeah, so it was a fine holiday weekend, very adult one. In the past, it would be like, you got blacked out Saturday, went to brunch Sunday, got blacked out early. But now we survive. Gambler's calling himself successful as your first red flag. It's true. I mean, I think anybody who actually is successful for the most part, they try to figure out other ways to talk about it. I know, Ship My Money, obviously a guy does content for Stochastic in the past. I know he would talk about being an analytics guy. People definitely talk around that stuff. Even for me, being a content creator for companies and for myself, I guess to a lesser extent, has been my job now for 5 years. And I still say working, sports analytics stuff, football. I now say fantasy football because I think that's clearly what the most of the focus is. But I think, it's weird. The people that brag about it are usually the ones that are not making the money off of the thing quite as much. Maxing on only the $10 on DK. I will not be doing the 5. I'm going to be making a plentiful deposit on DK for both sportsbook stuff because I've used all my sportsbook money on best ball. But I'm going to be depositing for the showdown on Thursday, and then whatever will be left from that, depositing more for Sunday. And that's enough for me. I don't need to add another best ball tournament when I already have to max out the $10. So like someone that doesn't double their ROI. Well, it's true. It's true. It's like my best ball ROI was fine last year. And my DFS ROI was in the positive too, but it's not, I don't play enough volume. To be a full-time with any of these, you have to have so much bankroll to be able to absorb the swings, but also you really do have to play every slate. And it's kind of the same thing we talk about with Probly, where theoretically, the bets that have a high Probly score are a positive expected value bet because the probability that we're calling from around the world, all the top markets, that's the correct probability theoretically. And then you're grading it out against live opportunities. But really, if you just take one bet, it's that one bet was plus EV, but it's still a game of probabilities. The way you win is over the course of 100 bets, basically. And that's sort of where I think DFS is, especially where you got to be playing every slate for a month, and then you'll win one. Hopefully, and that's enough to cover the month and a little bit more. But maybe the Sims will change the game. I hope so. All right, we got this 2-4-4-1. Definitely need some receivers. Definitely need a little bit of everything, but we also need Kenny Pickett. So let's just get him done here. And then what else? God, this is all running backs and guys that aren't great receivers. Let's take Mingo for the upside. Mingo, I think out of this group of guys where you have Rashee Rice, where you have Hodgins, and then you have Mingo. Mingo's the one that feels like he'd have a real role potentially. I still worry about Mingo. He's kind of a low ADOT guy. Didn't show a lot in Ole Miss. We talked about Malik Heath last week, a guy who's basically a Green Bay also ran guy in terms of the draft capital, but performed a lot better at Ole Miss than Jonathan Mingo did. That said, new opportunity for Mingo, new offense. Certainly full point PPR, I think, helps Mingo too, because I think his best case scenario is shitty Keenan Allen. So I don't know, that's not a ringing endorsement, but I think for this build, I think shitty Keenan Allen works pretty well. And I don't think I read the team so far. Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Kenny Pickett. So we did go 3 QBs, even though we have Hurts. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more unique. Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Rashad Penny, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Michael Thomas, Jonathan Mingo, and then Mark Andrews at tight end. So we got the elites at QB and tight end. Obviously, the value bucket there of what we did at QB, I don't think makes the most sense, but whatever. I got my stacks. And, and then Mark Andrews gives us a shot at having tight end one. So I think that works. Oh, $5. Yes, I will be maxing the $5. Yes. I thought there was another $5 best ball one, but I will be doing the $5 150 max for week 1. Yeah. And we'll see. And then probably after that, I think I'm only going to throw 50 in the showdown on Thursday. Because that's a $10 entry. But I gotta game out my bankroll for that stuff. Oh, you smoked the ribs. I threw a brisket on at midnight on Saturday and woke up at 6 a.m. to find my charcoals went out. No, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I get the I have the Camp Chef Woodwind, so it gives like Wi-Fi alerts if the temperature goes down, which is a positive. But I've never smoked anything overnight because like I just have a vague fear of the house burning down. I would be more inclined to like do it in the morning and then eat later, I guess, be the best way to put it. But the only thing that I've absolutely failed on the smoker so far was making a brisket. I tried to make one like the first week we got it, and it came out like fucking Play-Doh. So I have to challenge myself and make a brisket again at some point, probably during football season. I think I'll do that. But ribs, you can make, I think, pretty reliably. 221 ribs, talked about that before, but I think that's the best way to make ribs. 2 hours uncovered, 2 hours with foil on, 1 hour with basically with just the barbecue sauce on. And then chicken wings. Chicken always comes out fucking rock star level, I feel like, on a smoker. And that's just like a 2 hour cook, basically. I haven't done it in a few months. Focus on BBM and Underdog. I haven't had time to grind the bets and pick'ems. Yeah, it is betting season. It's certainly the pick'em stuff on Underdog. I think it'd be a lot of fun to play with. I know Drafters also has some small format stuff like Battle Royale type things that they were talking about that people apparently like. I don't know enough about it. But a good time. Betting's tough, man. The one thing with the Probly app that I think is important to me that it's going to be jarring for a lot of people, you're going to scroll through and see like a lot of negative EV bets. And that's just what betting is that if you account for what a top of market probability is and what the live opportunities are, like they're all designed to lose you money. And that's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. You still can find a few, like baseball's been pretty good. College football's also been really good for me. One on Duke yesterday, had the Clemson under 34.5. One on the Florida State game, had them over LSU. It's like you could identify opportunities, but it's about does this opportunity make sense? And what are the odds that you have to take that bet at for it to make sense? And that's what we provide with Probly. So I hope people will use that too for your valuation process. And it'll get better with search and stuff too, which I'm excited. The goal is to kind of have like a Google search engine basically where you could search any kind of bets and find out all of them. And that's going to be another part we have, which mobile forward, which I think is hard to argue with. Hopefully. I've heard worse comparisons for Mingo than shitty Keenan Allen. Okay. I'm glad we'll accept it. I think, fancy so-and-so, shitty so-and-so. I think those are my favorite kind of comps overall. How many A-rich men overs? I'm overall on all the A-rich men. I should throw in some ceremonial overs. I just don't really bet player props unless they are, market efficient kind of stuff. So definitely a spot for me that I should do that just for the emotions of it. But I think playing AR and DFS is more likely my outcome. All right, so we have the 3, 4, 5, 1. Need another tight end. Don't need him yet. Running back is only going to get worse from here. Dulcich doesn't make sense. I think Jalen Hyatt gives us another high upside receiver guy who can give us some spike weeks theoretically if he rises. So I'm going to take him with one of the picks. Then, and then Chuba doesn't make sense. Singletary, I think we can use as a fifth running back. So let's get Singletary in. Team so far, Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Kenny Pickett, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Michael Thomas, Jonathan Mingo, Jalen Hyatt, Mark Andrews. So I think, again, we got a good bet on Pittsburgh going. We've got guys that make sense alongside these guys as like upside. Michael Thomas undervalued in a drafters format because of the full point PPR if he can stay healthy. If not, hopefully he'll give me a few usable best ball weeks. I think the team fits. I think I probably got a little lackadaisical with stacking too much with the QB and tight end plays that we have. Like Goddard, maybe if I didn't take Andrews, Goddard would make more sense. Team's the team. It's tough. Had dozens of overnight smokes and never had a problem. Should probably invest in one of those Bluetooth thermometers. I think that's probably a good investment. If you're smoking that much, like I think having the equipment you need to do a good job with that stuff is probably the most important thing. But you probably smoke more stuff than me, B-Mac. Absolutely. Cannot stop drafting Dawson Knox like at all. I think Dawson Knox, I looked at my exposures. I think think I finished at like 6% Knox in BBM. Let me double check that. But I think I was a little bit under on him. And that does feel like one where, no, I was at 4%. Yeah, 4% Knox in BBM. He's definitely a kind of player like him and Hunter Henry are the two that are not sexy picks at all, but are kind of the tight end equivalent of Josh Jacobs last year. Everybody's looking for the running back version of it. And it could just be like, oh, Dawson Knox keeps his role and has some spike weeks and is still pretty good, even though Dalton Kincaid takes enough off the plate that he's not there every week. But that's Dawson Knox anyway, so it doesn't matter. And for Hunter Henry too, it's like he's just going to be out there running every route possibly at tight end, and an offense that's not going to throw the ball downfield a lot probably. And then also you have the Juju stuff where reports about Juju's knee exploding, which, I would still err on the side of playing the chance that he can be healthy, but you don't want to hear that somebody's knee is a ticking time bomb. If that's the case, like Gesicki benefits a little bit in terms of opening slot routes, but Hunter Henry probably benefits more because it just, not having that target suck that is Juju in the near range, I think would be a good one for him. 20% Knox. There we go. Hottie toddy. Spags only smokes the good stuff at night. Yes, that is true. Though, no, honestly, I'll top off in the mornings. I'm a man of mystery with my weed consumption. Unless it's on stream, then you know. Then you know when you see it. And you hear me get vaguely nihilist about best ball. But that's a good amount of Knox. I don't know that I'd go that crazy for Knox, but it's possible that he just does what he does every year. Again, like I don't think the equation for him has changed that much because Kincaid's not going to take him over as a blocker. It's just that, he basically kind of becomes, well, I guess fancy Durham Smythe last year would be the worst case scenario for Dawson Knox, where he's out there running blocking routes and stuff, but not really getting targeted that much. But then we're betting on Smythe this year in the hopes that he does get targeted because he's only tight end left. So could go either way for Knox. Coming up next here, we'll see what old Case Stewart does in front of me. About 23.5% Knox. Yeah, I much preferred the sexy rookies because I think they can be Kelsey level target earners, on a spectrum, obviously. But I think just relying on old reliable tight ends and a 3 tight end build, again, Knox, Henry, you also get the week 17 correlation with that one. I wouldn't be shocked if that kind of build made some noise. But let's make some picks here. I think Kyren Williams, another nice running back to get in a full point PPR format. And then, you know what? We need help at tight end. And Taysom Hill, as I mentioned, still a tight end on drafters. They're not going to go la, 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 16 years, la, 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 la. He's a QB. It's so easy to make fun of FFPC because I don't play on the site and they don't, and they've done nothing for me. So, but we get Taysom Hill team so far. Let's give it a read. Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Kenny Pickett, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary, Kyren Williams, receiver, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Michael Thomas, Jonathan Mingo, Jalen Hyatt, and then Mark Andrews, Taysom Hill. I think we are live for some of my usual late round hits in this one. Terrace Marshall, Trey Palmer. Who else at receiver? Josh Downs, I wouldn't mind. I don't think he's going to last. Allen Robinson, deep in the Pittsburgh bet. Wandale, Puka's role apparently in the Rams offense going to be a third receiver who alternates with Tutu Atwell based upon the kind of route. So Puka probably looks a little better in a PPR format. Tutu probably better in a touchdown format. Anyway, we got guys to take here to round out the receiver room, so I'm not worried about it. I ain't worried about nothing. Bitch, I ain't worried about nothing. Henry, my third highest drafted player. Boomer Bullock in the house. Boomer Bobo. That's what the Bobo stands for, Boomer Bullock. Been a fun year, Spags. Thanks for all the content, Internet Hanks. Thank you, Star Kindler, and I hope you guys keep coming by again. During football season, I'm going to find a way to make it similarly useful. It's different for DFS. Like, it's absolutely different because you have the week-to-week data. A lot of it is just more so looking at projections, looking at game theory for that stuff. For best ball, I do think it is a mix of the structural stuff we talk about all the time, the double stacking your QBs, correlating for week 17, not reaching an ADP too much, all that stuff, soaking up values at ADP, same thing. For DFS, it is a different content cycle where, as I mentioned, like I think the Sims are going to be an important part of anything, how we talk about this stuff this year, talking about, the salaries and stuff, always going to be a thing as well. But I'll do the best to bring the same experience for DFS this year. That is my promise. Ditto to you guys as well. Again, chat makes it fun. Chat makes this an enjoyable thing for me to do, whether we're making money or not, whether my Football Outsiders has paid me or not. I showed up here because I enjoy hanging with you guys, and it's fun to do this process and fun to share information, fun to debate with you guys, fun to have our guys like Jerry in the chat, Jerry coming back, touting Dalvin Cook. He knows he's got to do the bit. It's fun to have fun to have all you guys around. So hopefully the fun will continue on here, even though I know it's a different experience, season long, all that stuff. Shout out Tyler. Thanks for all the great content all summer. Appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys hanging out here. And of course, if you're new, look, the positive vibes don't stop. Subscribe down below. Hey, it's me, Jerry. I'm back chiming in because I've got thoughts about Spags as well. He's a bit of a cad, a bit of a guy that old Jerry doesn't agree with. But damn it, you got to subscribe to his channel because he gives you the takes that you don't want to hear. He's the only guy out there saying Saquon. I'm not sure about it. Dalvin Cook, I think he's a lock, but Spags here will tell you maybe Dalvin Cook not a lock. It's a shocker to hear. We can all agree, but either way, you got to join Splash Play to find out. Oh, thanks, Jerry. There goes just send Jerry over the wall. One of my favorite new bits is that one. Hey, shout out Katie. Vibes always immaculate here. Highest of vibes. Love to hear it. Deuce is always loose over here. Not Deuce Vaughn, though. Deuce Vaughn can't get loose no matter how hard he tries. There was a report, though, that Athletic article that made a lot of hay with all the beat writers giving their fantasy football takes. One of the takes in there was that they think that Tony Pollard's going to get set a high in touches, but it's not going to be Zeke's workload. So you know what that screams to me? Another 15 to 18 touch back, which is the thesis of the year. What if every running back just gets 15 to 18 touches? And that's what a bell cow is. And there's Deuce Vaughn. Look at me in the face saying, please take me. I'm so cute. I'm so little. You could put me in your pocket. No, Deuce Vaughn. Not today. Terrace Marshall, Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson deepens our bet on Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh offense. I know people like Calvin Austin out there. I think there is a faster route to more upside games for Allen Robinson, but we'll see. Obviously, he is on the older side of things, but I've talked about it before. People who are smarter than me have pointed it out. Definitely a way to rejuvenate an older player's careers to put him in the slot. Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen, two guys are going to be in the slot. Your mileage may vary. I think that Robinson still got a little more juice than Thielen, but I think 19th round, when you already have a Pittsburgh bet, I'm willing to go Allen Robinson there. Way to stay strong. Thank you. I know it's so tempting to get Deuce Vaughn. He's so little and cute. He's like Gizmo before he becomes a gremlin in the movies, but can't take him here. We're not doing ironic draft picks. Deuce Vaughn, though, honestly, I think Rico Dowdle's probably the one to have. And I still would watch out for Ronald Jones. I think that there is a world where he gets back into that mix after his injury stuff happened, or suspension, I guess. He's off the injured list, was practicing before, now going on the suspension for his suspected PEDs, even though it wasn't PEDs, allegedly. So we'll see. People taking Rico Dowdle. You can see him go here now. Rico, I think the better pick in terms of a pure handcuff for Tony Pollard. And then Deuce, probably a better pick if you want to get maybe a shot at 13-point spike weeks, which could be helpful. I think I shit on Deuce Vaughn. It wouldn't shock me if he gives you, 2 catches and a touchdown, 1 carry where he sneaks in. I think it's possible. Got a little Groot in him. One more Flock impression for the I always forget his voice, though. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. I'm trying to work it. I know people say he says ladies and gentlemen a lot. Let's do the thing where we pull up one of his streams and I'll hear the voice again. What better way to close this out than to be mean to somebody who was slightly mean to me in DM once over a year ago? All right, let's listen to his voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I will ask you to be a little bit patient with me here as I tout the same shitty plays I've been touting with no effort to improve my knowledge base or add anything useful besides the occasional new blazer color. That's what you're going to get here on the channel. Here on the Fantasy Fuck, you're going to get that kind of stuff every single day. Check out my rankings. I've got everybody ranked, and I'm going to say something vaguely positive about all of them. Rip Malik Davis. How many years do I need for Malik Davis to rise off practice squad? You need 2. You need Dowdle right now, and you need Tony Pollard, and you might need Rojo. But at least Malik Davis stay on the practice squad, so the bet holds. Like for any 18th round guy where like they got cut and stay on the practice squad, the bet still holds. They just have to be able to bring the guy up. So I wouldn't worry about it. Same thing for McBride. The amount of impressions. I do it. Look, I do it because the people demand it. Epic Bird crying. Wow, shout out Starkiller, $20 super chat for impressions. There we go. I just had to hear the voice. And we got there pretty fast. You to do some sort of content together. I would be happy to. I think I've probably been too mean, and he's got too thin of a skin. So I think that's a tough combo to hit. But I would put on a blazer for it. Let's make our final pick. We got ourselves a bunch of receivers at this point. Tight end, could add a third tight end. Any good tight ends left? Not really. Oh, you know what? Let's do a fun last tight end. Alberto, right? He's the Philly tight end. We didn't take Dallas Goedert. Final team, 20-round draft. Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins. Oh, I always forget to move myself over here. Sorry, guys. You can't see the team I'm reading. Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Kenny Pickett, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary, Kyron Williams, a receiver, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Michael Thomas, Jonathan Mingo, Jalen Hyatt, Terrace Marshall, and Allen Robinson. I guess we made such a bet on Carolina where it almost feels like it could use Bryce Young, but the QBs I have are going to beat Bryce Young, so that's fine. Tight end, Mark Andrews, Taysom Hill, and Alberto, the guy who's in Philly, going to get rejuvenated. That's my definition of fun. I agree. One of us here is winning BBM. I could feel it. I hope so. I know from the guys who've been members of the channel, if you want to be a Splash Play member, do hit that join button down below. I've seen a lot of your guys' teams. I've talked through some of your guys' teams as well at a lot of length. You guys have made some really smart teams from what I've seen. People have sent me stuff on social media too, even if they're not members. So I see it all. And I know you guys have done a great job if you've been drafting along with me. Come back tomorrow, though, because we got one more big swan song. DraftKings, my arch nemesis DraftKings, number 149 and 150 are going to be on the channel tomorrow. You're going to see the big 150 on the thumbnail. That's how I like to do it. I like big thumbs. I cannot lie. Big thumbs and big ducks. Of course, make sure to check that promo code SPLASH on Drafters. The overlay is going to hit. They're not going to fill the 40,000 entries or whatever they need to hit to break even. So just get in there. Use the promo code SPLASH. Double your deposit up to $100. And if you are a redepositor on Drafters, you can also use the promo code SPLASH100 to get a 20% match up to $500. So 2 ways to get yourself $100 on Drafters. Get in there. Take advantage of the Drafters Million, 300K to first place. You saw me build some teams. Can you build better ones? Find out. And of course, one more pander here. Subscribe. Oh, right here. I'm a beautiful Southern Belle. I'm back once more. So please subscribe to this channel if you enjoy these antics. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, the Fantasy Flock, and I've decided I'm going to do some ads for Splash Play. After having so much reach for so little effort and quality of content, I am here now promoting a channel that does it all. Look at my blazer. If only you could see it. It's beautiful. But check out Splash Play and please subscribe and come back for more. Well, great to have 2 guests. Here down the it's nice that they're even willing to do plugs for me. That's the great, you make friends, you win people along the way. Shout out to chat as always. I'll be back tomorrow for DraftKings around the same time, 10 or 11. You guys know the deal. And I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your days. Draft some teams, get them in, and good luck. Bye.